Hey, it's Eric and Jason, and we're back with another very special podcast. Today we're going to be talking about Paul Thomas Anderson's 2021 film, Licorice Pizza. This film is set in early to mid-70s, I think, in the San Fernando Valley. It follows the story of a 15-year-old child actor and his friendship relationship with a 25-year-old woman. There's a lot to talk about here. Let's start with what we liked about the filmmaking. What we liked and what we didn't like.
Beautifully shot, beautiful score. I think that the choice of actors, spot on, believable, young, fresh-faced actors who aren't trying to win modeling contests. These are just normal folks.
Yeah. Yep. We got Cooper Hoffman playing Gary Valentine. He's the late Philip Seymour Hoffman's son. And we have Alana Haim of the band Haim. And I thought, so I didn't have any awareness of her prior to this film, but it's very cool that her entire family's in the movie.
Yes.
Her two sisters, her father and mother are in the film. And I agree. They were fantastic. And there was just such a natural, for me, there was like a natural chemistry between her and Gary, and just overall, the acting was great.
Yeah, I think that they pulled no punches with the trying to give it its own style and vibe. It's a lot like and a lot unlike all of his other films. This one feels a lot different. It's a little more, it's a little more like Boogie Nights.
I was thinking, because we've been watching a lot of his movies. The structure of it felt very similar to Boogie Nights, but for me, in a much more refined way.
Yeah, the vignettes,
like
the little stories throughout.
Yeah, the vignettes, the basically no plot structure, but it feels like a refined filmmaker. I mean, this is his 9th movie.
Yeah.
He's now in his 50s. He made Boogie Nights when he was 26.
Is he going to do the Tarantino move on number 10?
You know what?
Call it quits.
Let Quentin retire, and let's keep Anderson working.
You want Tarantino out, and you want Anderson in.
I just want what they want for themselves.
They should retire together to Del Boca Vista. That.
Was there anything in particular about the filmmaking that wasn't interesting to you?
No, I think from a how to shoot a story perspective, it was spot on.
I think you mentioned this in a previous conversation, but I really liked his kind of long tracking shots where he follows characters.
Yes.
And the camera is just moving. There's a lot of movement in the film.
It makes for long acting. The character's not just they're not doing a 10-second, all right, say this line and cut.
They're in it.
Over to this person, all right, say this line and cut.
Yeah, they're in it. We're in it. It really builds like a nice...
Immersive,
yeah. It builds the mood. It's all a vibe, man.
It's a vibe,
I dig it.
He's here for it. Is there anything that... Okay, let's talk about the story itself.
All right.
Story's fun.
Story time.
Gary's kind of a hustler.
Yeah.
He's always looking to make that next dollar or stack of cash.
Yeah.
I don't know what his family background was. Why does he have these needs? But maybe it's just in his... We all know that one person who's out there hustling.
Yeah.
Making that money.
Well, he's 15, but he's functioning in an adult world. He has a PR company that his mom works for him. His dad, I don't think, his dad is not a character in the film. there's no presence of a father. He's moving within that adult world. He's uber confident. He's setting things up, getting things going.
Yeah, and he's really navigating that hustler's world very competently and comfortably.
And he's doing it all pre-social media, pre-internet age.
That's right, printing flyers,
Flyers.
handing them out.
Got the corded phone to the wall.
Oh man, Throwback Thursday on that one.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And Alana's character, was her name Alana in the movie?
Yep.
Yep. Made it easy, so somebody could just say her name and she knew who they were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
yeah.
She is an adult who's kind of living in a child's world.
Yeah. She's 25, but she's stunted, I think you could say.
She's she needs direction. She's working in that photo company.
Right.
Dealing with high schoolers all day, getting their photos taken for the yearbook and whatnot.
Yep.
Which leads to another problem.
What's that?
The 800-pound gorilla in the room.
Where is it?
He's over there.
I hear him.
There's a 25-year-old woman who's engaging in a physical relationship with a 15-year-old boy at some point. That's a problem. I think that it's hard to give this movie all of its flowers because I think that it's a little too celebrated, a lot in the way that people joke about, well, she was a hot teacher, no wonder all the boys wanted to sleep with her. Versus, oh, what a creepy teacher, I can't believe he slept with a 15-year-old girl. It's that double standard that gets thrown around a lot. I just have a real problem with that, especially the way it ends, and she's sort of allowing herself, spoiler alert, to fall. She resists for a long time.
Yeah.
But then
she says no for a long time.
She like gives in to her love, even though nobody's challenging her on this. When she goes to her family and says, "Is it weird that I hang out with a 15-year-old boy and all of his friends?"
Well, she knows that.
Yeah, it's weird, but whatever.
Well, she knows that it's weird.
Yeah, but nobody calls her out and says, you're kind of being a pedophile. I think that's where the movie could have... If he was 18 in the movie, I don't think it would have changed the plot at all. High school senior looking to make his way, I think it would have been a totally appropriate movie. It would still been just as good of a movie. He didn't have to be 15. But Anderson made that choice. Much in the same way in Boogie Nights, where Mark Wahlberg's character was 17. It's like right on that edge of adulthood.
Mm-hmm.
But he's like, I'll just do it anyway. People are going to buy my movie. I know.
There's a lot. Oh, there's a lot to to respond to there.
Yeah.
I wish I had a bullet point list of everything you just said. So I'll do my best.
You respond in your way. That's what the internet's for. We all get to respond in our own way, whether we're right or wrong.
See, I get where you're coming from, but I didn't view it in the same light.
Okay.
I didn't. So, all right. So before I knew what this movie was about, I thought it looked good. I didn't think it looked great. Then a friend told me what it was about the age gap. And I was like, why? Why did he have to do this? And then I saw the movie, and I was a little bit uncomfortable with it. And then I saw the movie again, And I was more or less not uncomfortable at all at that point. I felt seeing it again, I could see it a little bit more clearly. Now, I think what Anderson does with his storytelling across, I can't say all of his movies because I haven't seen all of them, but the ones that I have seen, is that he presents characters and situations who are not always likable and not always doing what we think are the right things, but he presents them in a way that removes judgment. We see this in Boogie Nights, we see it in There Will Be Blood. Obviously, we see it here. For me, this is a very interesting, a very, I would say, mature way to tell a story. You said that she engages in a physical relationship at some point. Their relationship isn't physical.
At the end, they kiss.
Well, until the very, 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 very end.
Right.
But up until that point, there is no physicality.
She did expose herself to it.
Sure, but there's still no... It's not physical in the way that...
It's not sexual.
It's not sexual. Yes, they're drawn to each other. Yes, there's flirtation. Even her showing him her breasts wasn't really sexual. It wasn't...
Right, but you have to make an active...
You have to look at it within the context of the whole film, and we can't really present that here.
Right, but I do think that exposing oneself to a child is a sex crime, no matter how you slice it. And to forgive that for the sake of a film, I'm not okay with. So I just have a problem with that. I think that normalizing sex crimes towards children is inappropriate and doesn't deserve to be celebrated. That's how I look at that. I think that we've come a very long way as a culture to really paying attention to those sort of activities. And just by saying, well, it's a period piece and things were different back then. Well, I don't think that necessarily makes it okay because there's no consequence.
Well, there's no consequence really for anything that happens in the film.
Right.
Again, now for me, yeah, I mean, looking at that sort of thing in general, yes, I'm not going to say that it's not wrong or not, falling into the category of sex crime. However, within the context of the film, I do view it differently. I do see that it's being portrayed differently.
Okay.
And I think, it's one of those movies where you kind of have to make your own decision about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, and, it may not work. It may not work
Right.
for some viewers.
On a slightly different note, within the vignettes, you've got some other star power attached to the film.
Mm.
You have Bradley Cooper and Sean Penn. And you go, Sean Penn, yeah, with the motorcycle scene. It's a fairly forgettable scene for me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's one that just doesn't stick out
Even with
in my mind.
Tom Waits.
Mm-hmm. I find that scene to be kind of, I can gloss over it. The Bradley Cooper scene, I find hilarious with the van backing down the street the entire way. I thought that was hilarious.
There's something else. So you mentioned he could be 18. I want to kind of circle back a little bit. For me, I don't think that works if he is 18.
Okay.
And I say that because throughout the whole film, there's this like a contrast set up. Like he's 15, and even with the older actor that she goes out with for a little bit.
Yeah.
So he's maybe what?
Like 26, 27. The other guy in the...
Well, I don't know if he's that old, but we're never told how old he is.
No, but he's an adult. We know he's an adult.
Yeah, of course. And
he has a beard. Did he?
No.
Oh.
No.
Well, he was a grown man.
I mean, he's still, he's not, he's in his 20s, probably. But you can see contrast being set up between Gary wanting to but not being able to do things an adult would be able to do.
Right.
Like drive a car.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if he's 18, he can drive a car. So we lose some of the tension, some of the dynamics, if he is a little bit older. Because there's always even with Bradley Cooper's character, he's goading him about that. Mm-hmm. And he butts up against those conflicts all throughout the movie, like with the slightly older actor that Alana ends up dating for a minute. I don't know. So for me, it's an interesting decision that provides a lot of conflict. I mean, it's a coming of age story. It's a self-discovery story.
Yeah.
In the end, she falls. She kind of gives in to her emotions, and at the beginning, she was saying, I can't date you. I'm 25. This and that. But then in the end, she gives in. She gives in to this feeling that she has, and I think it goes beyond rationality. I think it was a relationship. I think there was no stopping her emotions.
Okay.
I think it was an inevitable, trajectory, an inevitable ending, and
the thing that should have stopped her emotions was her own conscience.
Right, but how many times does that just not happen? For any
adults
reason.
And children?
No, in general, for any reason in any situation. Like our emotions will overtake our rational mind.
Oh, I get that.
Yeah.
I just think that you have to, part of being a responsible human being, an adult, is recognizing when when you have an internal conflict or something isn't right, it's still doing the right thing, especially, against this kind of backdrop. So I can't give that plot device a pass. I just can't. And people I've seen the movie with can't either.
I get that.
So, but it's going to be seen through different lenses for different people. Yeah. So,
I mean, for me, she wasn't. I think that was the point. She wasn't a responsible adult.
No, she's definitely not.
She's not. I mean, she's not. She's 25 and she's an adult in age, but she's not an adult in basically every other aspect.
Right. I just feel there should have been consequences, but that's neither here nor there because I didn't write the plot. I didn't write the script.
There were no consequences for Daniel Plainview. Well, we all know what he did.
There's nobody with a cell phone camera to watch him drink someone else's milkshake. drink your milkshake. One of my favorite movie lines.
Yeah.
Well, I think we've massaged the dough on this licorice pizza quite a bit. As far as this concept goes, we've discussed it for probably hours on end. Leading up to this. I think it's time we
arrive at the same point, don't we?
Yep.
Contention.
We'll see where the thumbs land.
Do you think... Alright, yeah. We'll see where the thumbs land. I think we all know.
We know where these thumbs are going.
Alright, ready? 1, 2, 3.
Great movie. Terrible social commentary.
Great movie. Great movie.
What are we discussing next?
Do you have any final thoughts?
Yeah,
I was going to ask
even better.
I was going to ask you. So this is up for Best Picture, Best Director, and Best Original Screenplay. Any thoughts on that? 10 Best Picture nominations this year.
Too many. That's too many.
It's 5 too many.
Because 5 of them are better than the other 5.
Right.
So, I think it's lazy to do 10. Just like let everybody in. Because on IMDb you'll see like nominated for an Academy Award, which is almost as good as getting one.
Well, I think it provides exposure to films that maybe people wouldn't know about. So I'm okay with it. But what do you think about Licorice Pizza's nominations? Kind of hate it.
I don't think it's the best movie I saw this year.
Okay. Do you have one that you think is the best movie you saw?
Oh, I'd have to go back through.
Okay.
Is it good? Yeah.
Sure.
You think differently? You probably give them a bing, bing, bing all the way across.
I don't know what that means.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
I love this film.
I know.
I don't think it's going to win Best Picture. Would I be happy if it did? Yeah, sure.
Why not? Yeah.
It was. I'll tell you why I loved it, because it was a joyful movie, joyous, frickin' movie.
It was fun.
It's a feel-good movie.
Feel-good movie.
I got high from watching it.
Oh.
It's weird, but it's true.
That's a gleaming. You're celebrating it.
Yeah,
He celebrates this movie.
I'm celebrating
Everything in it. Well, I'm glad we finally got the pod done on this. We were able to discuss this in rational terms.
Mm-hmm. You asked what's next. I don't know what's next.
How do you see what's out there? What did we recently watch? Tick, Tick, Boom? Maybe we'll talk about Tick, Tick, Boom next time.
Maybe.
But you gotta finish Rent. Alright, everybody. Stay tuned. Thanks to all of our supporters on Patreon maybe we'll get one.
Till next time.
Till next.
See ya.
See ya.